Welcome to Yehoshua's Daf Yomi Shiur, where the Daf continues daily until the complete revelation of Mashiach ben David, Messiah the son of David. Today we'll be learning Chullin, page 88a, top of the page, with the words Elu ve'elu, Elu ve'elu, Ein mitamin, Ushar kol hatmein, Ve'en mekadem ben chamorin, Mashkin yotz mehen kemashke, הנוגע בהן, ואלו תחילה חוץ מן המשקה שהוא אב הטומאה. And both these and those, meaning both liquids that issue from one who immersed himself that day and liquids he touches, do not impart ritual impurity. And with regard to all other sources of impurity, whether minor sources or major sources, liquids that issue from them have the same status as liquids that touch them, and both these and those have first-degree ritual impurity, since they touched a primary source of ritual impurity upon exiting the source. This is the halacha, except for a liquid that is itself a primary source of ritual impurity. My kalin umay chamurin. My lav, kalin sheretz v'zav, chamurin meis. La Kalin Sheretz Chamurin Zav. The Gemara analyzes the Mishnah. What is the meaning of minor sources and what is the meaning of major sources? What is it? Is it not the term minor sources is referring to a creeping animal or a zav, and that the term major sources is referring to a corpse? If so, the Mishnah teaches that all liquids that issue from a corpse are ritually impure, in contradiction to the Braita. The Gemara responds, no. The term minor sources is referring to a creeping animal, for example, urine found inside its body, which is not considered ritually impure. And the term major sources is referring to a zav, concerning whom all liquids that issue from him are ritually impure. By contrast, liquids that issue from a corpse are ritually pure with the exception of blood. Ma'ishna zav de gazu be'rabanan, ma'ishna meis de la gazu be'rabanan, zav de la bedili, and hashimine gazu be'rabanan, meis de bedili and hashimine lo gazu be'rabanan. The Gemara asks, what is different with regard to a zav concerning whom the sages decreed that liquids that issue from him are ritually impure? And what is different with regard to a corpse concerning which the sages did not decree that liquids that issue from it are ritually impure? The Gemara responds, in the case of a zav, since people do not naturally separate from him, the sages decreed additional restrictions with regard to him in order to prevent others from contracting impurity from liquids that issue from a zav that are impure by Torah law. In the case of a corpse, since people naturally separate from it, the sages did not decree additional restrictions with regard to it. Dam hanitaz v'shal hasakin tanur rabbanan v'yisol b'lamed shedam hanitaz v'shal hasakin chayav l'chasos amar Yehuda emasai bizman she'ein sham dam elahu aval yesh sham dam shalohu pater l'chasos. The Mishnah teaches that one is obligated to cover blood that spurts outside the pit over which the animal was slaughtered or onto the wall, and blood that remained on the slaughtering knife. With regard to this halacha, the sages taught in Braita, the verse states, and he shall cover it, Leviticus 17:13, which teaches that one is obligated to cover blood that spurted and blood that remained on the slaughtering knife. For Yehuda said, what is the halacha? When there is no blood except that blood, but if there is other blood that is not that blood, one is exempt from covering it. Tanya Yidaf Yisrael B'lamed Shekol Damo Chayav L'chasos Mikan Amru Dam Hanitaz V'Shal Hagapayim Chayav L'chasos Amar Rishimon Ben Gamliel Bamed V'Amurim Shelo kisa dam hanefesh, aval kisa dam hanefesh pater v'nechasos. It is taught in another Braita, the term "and he shall cover it" teaches that one is obligated to cover all of the blood. From here, the sages stated with regard to blood that spurts out and blood that remains on the sides of the animal's throat where it was slaughtered, one is obligated to cover it. Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel said, in what case is this statement said? It is said in a case where one did not already cover the blood of the soul, meaning the blood that flows from the place of slaughter as the animal dies. But if one already covered the blood of the soul, he is exempt from the obligation to cover the blood that spurted out or the blood remaining on the sides of the animal's neck in the area of slaughter. B'mai komifligi Rabbanan sabri damo kol damo. Yehuda savar damo afilu miktas damo. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel savar damo hamiyuchad. The Gemara asks, with regard to what matter do they disagree? The Gemara responds, the rabbis hold that the expression "its blood," Leviticus 17:13, indicates an obligation to cover all of its blood, even the blood that spurts out. Rabbi Yehuda holds that its blood indicates that one may fulfill the mitzvah with any part of the blood, even with a small amount of its blood. And Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel holds that its blood refers to the special blood, meaning the blood of the soul. Okay, that's the Gemara. We start a new Mishnah. Mishnah says, "B'meh mechasin u'b'meh ein mechasin. Mechasin v'zevel hadak u'b'chol hadak v'sidu v'chasis u'leveno u'b'megufa shekatashan aval ein mechasin lo b'zevel hagas v'lo b'chol hagas v'lo b'levena u'b'megufa shelo katashan v'shelo yichbe alav es hakli." Klal Amar Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, davar shmegadel bo tzmachim mechasim bo, v'she'eno megadel tzmachim ein mechasim bo. Okay, so the Mishnah says, with what substances may one cover the blood, and with what substances may one not cover the blood? One may cover the blood with blood of fine granulated manure, with fine sand, with lime, with crushed potsherd, and with brick, or the lid of an earthenware barrel that one crushed. But one may not cover the blood with thick manure, nor with thick clump sand, nor with a brick of the lid of an earthenware barrel that one did not crush. Neither may one merely turn a vessel over the blood. Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel stated a principle. With regard to a substance in which plants grow, one may cover the blood with it, and with regard to a substance in which plants do not grow, one may not cover the blood with it. Okay, so Talmud says, Hechi dami chol hadak, Amar Rabba bar Chana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan kol she'ein hayotzer tzarech lichat hasho, Ika demasin la seifa, aval ein mechasin lo b'zever hagas, velo b'chol hagas, hechi dami chol hagas. Amar Rabba bar Chana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, kol hayotzer, kol she'yotzer tzarech lichat hasho. The Mishnah teaches that one may cover the blood with fine sand. The Gemara asks, what is considered fine sand? Rabba bar Chana says, Rabbi Yochanan says, it is any sand that the pottery producer does not need to crush in order to use it. The Gemara notes, and some teach this statement in reference to the latter clause of the Mishnah, which states, but one may not cover the blood with thick manure, nor with thick sand. The Gemara asks, what is considered thick sand? Rabba bar Chana says that Rabbi Yochanan says, it is any sand that the pottery producer must crush in order to use it. My binayhu, ika binayhu. The tzarech, velo tzarech, the miprich I proche. The Gemara asks, what is the practical difference between the two versions? The Gemara responds, there is a difference between them with regard to sand that requires some crushing and sand that does not require full crushing, that crumbles in one's hand and does not require a tool. According to the first version, as long as the sand does not require crushing, it may be used to cover the blood. Therefore, The sand that requires crumbling may be used since it is not considered sand that requires crushing. According to the second version, any sand that requires some crushing may not be used. Therefore, sand that requires crumbling may not be used to cover the blood. Tanu Rabbanon Nechisahu Yachol Yichasenu Be'avanim O Yichpe Alav Esakli Talmud Lomar Yafar Ve'en Li Ela Afar Minay L'Ravos Zevel Hadak V'chol Hadak U'Shechikas Avanim U'Shechikas Charsis Uni Ores Pishtandaka. It is the sages taught in Braita. The verse states, with regard to the mitzvah of covering the blood and cover it, Leviticus 17:13. One might have thought that he may cover the blood with stones or merely turn a vessel over it. Therefore, the verse states with earth. Based on this expression, I have derived only that earth may be used. From where does one derive to include fine manure, fine sand, crushed stones, crushed potsherd, fine chaff of flax? Continuing on to 88b. Unerosa shel charosin dako sid v'charosin zon v'gufin shekatashon tabalor v'chisahu yachol shani mar v'af zevalagas v'chol lagas v'shchikas klei matachos u'levein ha'gufa shelo katashon v'kemach v'subin umursan tabalor v'afar. And fine sawdust of carpenters, lime, crushed potsherd, and brick. On 88b now at the top, and brick of the lid of an earthenware barrel that one crushed. The verse states, and cover it, meaning with any substance. One might have thought that I will include even thick manure and thick sand, fillings of metal vessels, of brick, or a lid that one did not crush, flour, bran, or coarse bran. Therefore, the verse states, and cover it with earth, indicating that not all substances may be used to cover blood. Okay, we'll stop here.